At 6 a.m., fighter jets take off from Israel. 2 hours later, missiles hit a heavily guarded compound in Tehran. In this airstrike, Iran's top leadership, Ali Khamenei, is dead. This happened in 2026. Every part of it is rooted in real tensions, real history, and very real military capabilities. Let's break it down. To understand how such a strike could even be considered, we need to go back to 1979. Before the revolution, Iran was ruled by Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, a US-backed monarch. Then came the Iranian Revolution. The monarchy collapsed. In its place rose the Islamic Republic, led by Ruhollah Khamenei. The new regime rejected Western influence and declared the United States and Israel its strategic enemies. After Khamenei's death, Ali Khamenei became supreme leader in 1989, consolidating clerical power at the top of Iran's system. And over decades, three major flashpoints emerged: Iran's nuclear program, its regional proxy network, and Israel's determination to stop both. In 2015, the U.S. under Barack Obama signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, limiting Iran's nuclear program. But in 2018, Donald Trump withdrew from the deal. Sanctions returned, tensions escalated. From there, the shadow war intensified: cyber attacks, assassinations, sabotage. Now, imagine negotiations collapse completely. What happens next? At 2 a.m., the skies over Iran lit up. The U.S. called it Operation Epic Fury. On February 28, 2026, the United States launched a massive coordinated strike targeting Iran's military infrastructure and high-value command centers. Officials said the mission aimed to weaken Iran's strategic capabilities and send a clear message: escalation would have consequences. The strikes reportedly involved precision missiles, air power, and cyber coordination, making it one of the most significant direct U.S. actions against Iran in years. Iran vowed retaliation. Global markets reacted instantly. Oil prices jumped. The world held its breath. Was this a limited strike or the beginning of something bigger? The first strike is only the beginning. What matters is what happens after. Iran launches hundreds of missiles. Targets span across Israel and U.S. bases in the Gulf. Air defense systems light up across the region. Shipping lanes in the Red Sea are threatened. Oil markets spike within hours. Airspace closes, and suddenly, what began as a leadership strike becomes a regional war. The Strait of Hormuz, through which roughly a fifth of global oil passes, becomes unstable. Energy prices surge worldwide. Global markets react instantly. This is no longer just a Middle Eastern conflict. It's a global economic shock. Supporters would argue this was preemptive self-defense, a move to eliminate an emerging threat before it materializes. Critics would call it a preventative war, striking not because an attack was imminent, but because a rival appeared vulnerable. Under international law, that distinction matters. A war of necessity can be justified. A war of choice is far more controversial. Inside the United States, another debate would erupt. Can a president launch a war of this magnitude without congressional approval? And internationally, if powerful states begin attacking rivals simply because they are temporarily weak, the entire global order shifts. After the U.S. and Israeli airstrike on Iran on February 28, 2026, life inside the country changed dramatically. What exactly happened within Iran's borders? On February 28th, joint U.S.-Israel forces launched a massive air campaign against Iranian military and leadership targets, including strikes deep inside Tehran and other cities. This triggered immediate and serious consequences for ordinary Iranians and society as a whole. Precision strikes hit key military facilities, command and control centers, and leadership infrastructure in Tehran and across several provinces. Videos and satellite images showed smoke rising over central Tehran, structural damage, and explosions that shook neighborhoods. One of the deadliest and most heartbreaking outcomes was the destruction of the Shajara Tayyebe Girls' School in Minab, where dozens of children were killed or wounded during the initial strikes. This tragedy sparked international outcry and calls for investigations into civilian harm. Across Iran, people reacted with shock and fear. Mass evacuations from major cities, long lines for fuel and supplies, and widespread panic buying became common as citizens worried about further attacks and instability. Internet connectivity dropped sharply, leaving many without reliable communication inside and outside the country. The Iranian government heightened internal security measures, issuing emergency decrees and warning against rumors that could spread fear. Military and intelligence forces struggled to manage daily life amid the chaos. At the same time, Tehran launched retaliatory strikes against U.S. bases and Israeli targets in the region as part of escalating conflict dynamics. Inside Iran, ordinary life was disrupted by explosions, loss, fear, and uncertainty, with both civilians and government institutions grappling with the fallout of the February strikes. But the tensions behind it are not. Israel sees Iran as an existential threat. Iran sees the U.S. and Israel as permanent adversaries. And when diplomacy fails, military options move closer to the table. The bigger question is this: does eliminating a rival's leadership make the world safer, or does it open a door that cannot be closed? Because in modern warfare, the first strike is rarely the final one, and escalation is much easier than de-escalation.